episode of Power Move Makers. This series was created with a simple goal in mind: to bring to the table high-level executives, successful entrepreneurs, and just all-around inspiring human beings. Not just focusing on their success, but more important, focusing on the road that they traveled to get there. Now, this week's guest, I had no idea of who he was 2 months ago. And I came across his story and I was just so inspired by it. Everything that the Power Move Makers series was created and founded on, he exemplified. And I told my team, y'all got to go out there. Y'all got to get this guy. And we were just blessed that he said yes. It took us a little minute to get him on the show, but I'm so happy to have him here. He is an author. He's a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur. He's a sports analyst, just to name a few of his accolades. Please welcome to this week's Power Move Makers series, Mr. Eric LeGrand. E, what up?
What up, Shawn? I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you today.
Thank you, brother. Again, like I said, I was so inspired by your story and I appreciate your time. And I just want to thank you in advance for just gracing us with a few minutes of your day. I know you are pulled in a lot of different directions. So just having you on is, it's my pleasure. And I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to start you out. Who was Eric as a kid? I know that your life centered around football, but was that always you? Talk about Eric the kid for a second.
Eric the kid, grew up, in an area where there were a lot of kids in the suburbs of New Jersey. I always say I'm the last generation of the kids that used to go outside, go to the park, stay up from the sunlight till sundown generation. Before now everyone's inside, playing video and this and that. I was an outside kid. I moved from an apartment building when I was born in, and I moved to a house with my mom, my dad at the time, and my sister when I was 5 years old. And, I had three other kids on the block with me, two my age, another about 5 years older than us. And we always used to play this game called Kill the Man with the Ball on the side of the house. And of course, the guy 5 years older than us would throw us, or he would throw us into the house, throw us into the fence. He would get rough with us. But every now and then, I would juke him out and get past him and score a touchdown. And that adrenaline rush from when I was 4 or 5 years old led me to playing the game of football and started my football journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so as we dive deeper into your story, I know, because just doing my research on you, I know that your mom is always there with you. Mm-hmm. Give me the family dynamic. Number one, is your dad still around? I heard you just mention him. You just mentioned that you have a sister. Are there any brothers in the picture? How many kids are in your household to begin with?
So I grew up, my dad moved out to the next town over from me, to Carteret, New Jersey, when I was 5 years old. And my dad was in the picture of my life growing up. I always say, whatever I needed, he was there for me. Coming to my games, he was present. He was definitely present there. But my mom raised me. My mom raised me and turned me into the man that I am today. It was my sister, who's 11 years older than me, my mom and myself. That's how I grew up. My sister, when I was 7 years old, went to North Carolina A&T State University down in Greensboro, North Carolina. And it was my mom and I in the house from 7 till I was 11 years old. My sister moved back in. So like I said, I grew up in the time where you go outside and play. So my mom was always on me, making sure, that I was outside. I was, doing the right things, grooming me the right way, trying to, mold me into a young black male who's going to, enter this world with some sort of disadvantages sometimes. But she always told me, Eric, don't ever look at it like that. Go out there and be who you are. You respect everybody. I don't care if they're the CEO or the janitor. I don't care if they're white or black. You will become a respectable young man. Because if you do that, you'll see that people will have your back. And that's what I learned.
That's so nice. That's such a great lesson. And I'm sure that followed you onto the football field. You said that you started playing football very early age. Were you somebody who played throughout high school? Were you somebody who played just in leagues in the neighborhood?
Yeah, so there's a Pop Warner. I started when I was 5 years old, flag football. And I played for the Port Reading Saints through the Pop Warner Leagues all the way up until I got to high school. I got to play the last 3 games of varsity in my high school football because we had an injury on the team. I got bumped up, and I'm not going to lie to you, I balled out. had 45 tackles in 3 games. And next thing you know, I'm getting a scholarship offer to Rutgers University as a freshman in college. So from there, you know, the only regret I always say in high school, I wish I played baseball and basketball all 4 years. After my freshman year, I stopped playing baseball and basketball, and I focused on football and getting myself ready because Mama knew that's where the scholarship was. That's where the money was. That's how you get to go to college for free. So let's focus on that.
You know, you are synonymous with Rutgers football. Mm-hmm. Everything from your logo, you know, we can't see totally behind you, but I see your jersey and you have the Rucker there. Let's talk you going to Rutgers, playing for the team. Were you automatically a standout? Did you start automatically? Was it a huge transition coming from high school ball to college ball?
Oh, it was a big transition. I'll tell you what. I got recruited to play one position, came there, met my goal weight. I was 6'2". They wanted me at 232 pounds. I come there to play linebacker, thought I was going to move there. In high school, I was a little bit bigger. I played at like 240, 250. So Rutgers knew, like, you know what, that kid got some size to him. He can grow. Let's not hold him back. I didn't know this at the time, but they moved me to nose guard, which is down in the trenches with the big boys, 300-plus pound dudes down there, you know, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". And now they moved me 6'2", 232 pounds into the trenches with the big dogs. I never played down there in my life. Talk about a transition. Whew.
What year were you in when you made this transition?
Thrown around. My freshman. This was right off the jump.
Wow.
So Coach Shawn threw me right into the fire. And I had to learn how to survive down there. And I didn't redshirt my freshman year. I found a home on special teams where I made a big impact on kickoff return, all that stuff. And then I was finding my way onto the field here and there in these new positions and playing in front of 60, 70, 80,000 people. And it was a huge transition, but I got thrown right into the fire. And that's how you learn, you know. You get thrown into the fire, you got to either you're going to get burned or you're going to find a way to make it happen. And I was thankful enough. I got burned a few times. I ain't going to lie. At the end of the day, I found it happened.
Okay, so were you a kind of person who you just accepted this challenge? Like, I understand this is not my normal position. I understand this is not what you guys brought me here for. But if you see something in me, I'm just going to rise up and accept this. Or did you, like most people, be like, this ain't the position I'm supposed to be playing. I'm going, you know, buck up against it. What was your attitude with even switching positions, especially going up against 300-pound men?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. I didn't like it at all. I was like, I'm 17 years old now. I'm like, what's coach talking about? Like, he's moving me here. I never played it down in my life with my hand in the ground. Then in the second week of the season, our second string defensive end was another position on the defensive line, just out a little bit more, got hurt. They bumped me over there. So I started learning this whole new position middle of the season. So now another injury, our offensive side weren't productive at fullback. They bumped me over to offense, and I'm playing fullback now. And I got to learn that terminology. I stayed there for 3 weeks. Then they bumped me back to defensive end, and then at the end of the year, they moved me back to nose guard. And Shawn, I said to myself, do I love this game anymore? This was one of the hardest football I've ever had. I've never been like this. This football has always been so easy to me. I got put in positions that I go out there and excel. This year challenged me. And I remember I had a meeting with my coach at the end of the year, and I said, Coach, like what's going on? Like this was not my plan for my career. He said, listen, Eric, you're going to learn in life, love is sacrifice. We trusted you to put you in those positions to go out there and get the job done. Do you think I would have put you out there if I didn't think that you could go out there and get the job done? Yes, I know it wasn't easy. Yes, I know it wasn't fun, but I challenged you and you overcame that adversity and you became a better person. You're now mentally stronger to be able to deal with transitions like this. And I remember being that 18-year-old boy like, you know what? You're right. And he goes, you'll learn, E. When you love something so much, sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of things and a lot of things that you thought were going to go your way or this was planned in order for the bigger plan. And you got to put your trust in us. And he was right. After that, I bulked up, started gaining weight, and I found my home down there.
Okay. Eric, I don't think you realize, or maybe you do, the gems that you just dropped. So I want to go backwards for a second because I didn't realize that this was the answer you were going to give me. When you went in and you're frustrated, you just came off a very difficult season. And you sit down and you talk to your coach. Coach, what are you doing? This is not what I came here for. Can you repeat back to me and the audience? Because everybody needs to hear exactly what you just said, because sometimes we're put in these positions in life and it's not what we signed up for. But truth be told, it's the path that we need to go to get to our ultimate destination. And that's where trusting the process comes in at. But more important, in your case, there was somebody who saw something in you that maybe at the time you didn't see in yourself. So can you just take this back for 1 second, because I want to drive this point home. So anybody who's listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, or any of the streaming services, or watching this on YouTube, please listen up to this conversation once again. Eric.
Yes, going to that meeting with coaching, not knowing where my career is going to go. And he talked to me man to man, eye to eye, and said, listen, Eric, you're going to learn love is sacrifice. This may not have been the plan that you had that was in store for you. But I wouldn't have put you out there if I didn't think that you could be trusted to get the job done. I could have put anybody else out there, but I picked you in every single one of those positions because I trusted you to learn the position, get the job done. Yes, it wasn't always easy, and it wasn't always fun, and you got thrown into the fire, and sometimes you got burnt. But guess what? You're now mentally strong enough to be able to deal with this. You're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, and you're going to understand this position, and you got to learn to trust us in order to get the job done and learn that love is sacrifice. And that's what you just did.
Love is sacrifice. Wow. Such great stuff. Okay.
To all my movers, if you love educational and inspirational content just like this, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. But most important, if you know anybody making power moves just like you, share it. Now back to the video.
You're playing throughout your freshman year. Bring me into your sophomore year. And it's your sophomore year when you have this accident and this injury, correct?
At junior year. So my sophomore year? Yeah, so my sophomore year, I actually started to excel a little bit. I started to get my feel on down there where I was playing. Now I know the position a little bit more. Start doing my thing out there in the rotation, balling out. You know, I'm happy. You know, I'm happy now. I'm not 230 pounds no more. This year I'm 260. I'm still fast, moving around. Have a great sophomore year. Junior year comes, I bulk up even more. I'm at 275 now. Starting to play, ball out again. We were 3-2 going into the game. I got hurt right in the middle of the season, and that fourth quarter of the game comes. I'm running down on kickoff like
I don't want you to go there yet. I don't want you to go.
I wasn't going to go there yet.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that game, everything was just normal, and my life changed there. But like I said, I was finally excelling, and I started to say, you know what, Coach was right. Coach knew this plan, and I put my trust in these coaches, and I'm having the time of my life now.
So literally, when it came to that fateful day, you're thinking to yourself, Coach was right. I'm having the time of my life. I'm balling on another level. I'm really doing this. Like, this is the mindset you went into that game with?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, now I'm comfortable. I'm a junior here. I'm about to be midway through the season. I done got myself in shape over all these years, because people don't realize with football, you get in college 12 opportunities to play the game. But the process behind the scene, those other 353 days that go into it of working hard, sacrifice, grinding, self-evaluation periods, learning to work together as a team, becoming a leader of a team, you know, all these types of things. Finally, you know, when you get to go out there and play the game, it's like, yes, I'm ready. This is what I'm built for. This is what I've been sacrificing. This is what I've been doing. And yes, I was having the time of my life.
Whoa. Okay. Let's talk about the fateful day for 1 second. I don't want to talk about the game yet. I want to talk about the morning leading up to the game. What are your rituals? What are some things that Eric LeGrand did every day? And thinking back now, did you do anything different? Was there something that, there are people who are just superstitious. Every minute, every time before a game or every time before they do something on a high level, they follow a certain routine. Was your life in any way, shape, or form out of the norm, or did you do things exactly as you always did it before a big game?
That every time I did it the same. Always with a pregame meal before, like the night before, I got to hurry up. I got to be the first one, get my meal, eat my meal, be the first one over to the shake machine. So because I always say when everyone goes over there, they be putting all that stuff in there, gets all mixed up. I had to be the first one in there so I can make my own shake first before they dirty it all up, brought it up to my room. When I come to the meetings, I always have my same seat, sit in the same seat in the meeting room. Then the day of the game, I don't know why I used to put on my left sock first, like one of those weird ones. Game day, put on the left sock first, then the right sock. All this. I pregame, this was crazy. I would go out to the field, always before pregame, and check out the stadium. This time we were at MetLife Stadium. We weren't at our home stadium. We're at MetLife right there, and it was the first time, being able to play there in a new stadium. And I remember looking in the camera, and there was video of me saying, "We're out here at MetLife Stadium. We're ready to go, getting ready to play the Army Black Knights, and we're going to keep on chopping all day long." And that was just my routine that I would do every single game. So nothing was different.
There was nothing that day that you did anything different.
Only thing that was different was instead of getting 4 or 5 tickets, that game, somehow, some way, I was able to get 20 plus tickets. And literally, family and my friends all seen my last game. And they would play football.
Oh, wow.
20 plus tickets. Even the local pizzeria guy and his family were there. Crazy to think about. I got 20 plus tickets for that game just because it was at MetLife Stadium. A lot of the kids, from Florida and stuff, their families don't come, so you take their tickets. Usually I get 4, 5, 6, 7. This game I had 20 plus tickets. And it's crazy to say that was my last game I've ever played.
Okay. Set the stage. You're at MetLife Stadium. The Giants play there.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new. October 16th, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start that game? Were you having a great game? What was the actual game like itself leading up to your injury?
So the game was actually, this was crazy. So it was going back and forth. And earlier in the game, I had missed a big sack opportunity where I was chasing the quarterback down and he planted and he scrambled away and got a big first down. So I got mad at myself. But later in that drive, when I was back in the game, there was a big 3rd and inches. And I remember busting through the line, made the tackle, made the stop. And I remember my bell got rung a little bit because I went full speed with the fullback. And I remember getting up and I started walking towards the other sideline. And my teammate was like, yo, E, we got to go this way. I was like, oh, snap. And I ran to the other side and then I sat down and we punted the ball. And we ended up going down, scoring, and tying the game, 17-17 with 5 minutes left. And then boom.
Okay.
On that next kickoff. After I just made a big play, bell rung a little bit, but we recovered, I was fine. We go down, score a touchdown, it's a tie game. And now there's 5 minutes left in the game.
So the play that changed your life, it meant something. You guys are tied. This wasn't just some random play. You were playing to win at this point.
I was running down that field. I said to myself, if I can make a big play here, get them, at the 25-yard line in, we can get a quick 3 and out, a quick punt, get good field position. So our team, our offense has enough time to drive down the field for a game-winning drive. That's my mindset running down that field.
How much do you remember about the play itself?
Oh, I remember it all. I remember everything until I got into the ambulance and they started driving away.
Okay, you walk our audience through the exact play, how it happened, why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me your mindset going into that play.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's the kickoff. So that game, I was facing a double team, which means 2 guys came to block me. That was the kickoff, the return design that they were running. But on that specific kickoff, I was able to split the double team, we call it. which means I was able to get right between the two. And I had them behind me now. So now they're behind me and I'm running full speed. So I said, you know what? I got a good 30-yard start on this tackle. Because we already did the kickoff so many times. I knew once I got past those two, that it was going to be my job to make the tackle. So, I'm sprinting. And I said to myself as I'm running down, do I want to use my head or do I want to use my shoulder? I said, this is about to be a big collision because I got some momentum. I said, you know what? Let me put my head down on the side and use my shoulder on this play because I don't want to have my head in the tackle. But if you ever see the video before, my teammate actually gets down there about a half a second before I did. He dives. He trips the guy up. The guy, his name is Malcolm Brown. His body twirls in the air. I put my head down thinking it was going to go on the side of his body, and I was going to tackle him with my shoulder, and his body twirled in the crown of my head, goes right into the back of his shoulder blade, and boom.
Wow.
I'm on the ground motionless, and I can't breathe.
Wow. What exactly was damaged?
I fractured my C3, C4 vertebrae, which is the bones in my neck. And that controls a lot. I paralyzed my diaphragm at the time. The last thing I remember feeling was my heels hitting the ground. My body went stiff, and my heels went slowly hit the ground. And my trainers come up to me, Eric, is it your head or your neck? And I said, I can't breathe. They're like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? And all I could say was, I can't breathe. Now my head coach, Greg Schiano, comes running out immediately. He looks down and goes, E, you have to pray right now. And honestly, when he said that to me, I can't move, I can't breathe. Now my coach is telling me I have to pray. I'm thinking my life is over. That's it. And I'm not going to lie to you, Shawn. At one point, I closed my eyes and I said, you know what, God? Take me at ease. And as nothing happened, I went back to bed, opened my eyes up, and now they had brought the board out to lift me up. And they rolled me over a little bit and they put me on the board. And when they lifted me up, I caught a gasp of air for a second. So I said, maybe I just knocked the wind out of myself. I got a full body stinger. I've had a stinger on my shoulder before where it goes numb and it comes back. I said, you know what? Full body stinger. Let me give that thumbs up. You ever see when somebody's getting carted off to the field, they give thumbs up? I said, let me give a thumbs up to the crowd that everyone else is going to be okay. When they give that thumbs up and it just felt like there was a 3,000-pound elephant laying on my hand. Couldn't move it. I get to the end of the end zone. My mom and my sister are now down on the field. My mom's hysterical. And I'm just like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I said, they're trying to calm her down. They put me in the ambulance. They put an oxygen mask on me. I'm thinking, once they put this oxygen mask on me, I'll be able to take that deep breath in and out. I went to inhale, and I couldn't exhale, and I blacked out. Now I'm on my way to the hospital.
Okay, a couple of things stand out to me. You can actually remember the last time you felt anything?
Oh yeah, I remember my body went stiff and my legs were sticking straight out. And then all of a sudden it just went like down and my heels hit the turf. And then after that, it went immediately to I can't breathe.
And also when your coach Schiano comes up to you and tells you to pray, obviously you know it's serious. This is not a normal stinger I'm dealing with.
Yeah,
but you also said, go ahead.
At the time, I said, I can't move, I can't breathe. The scariest part about the whole thing was not being able to move, not being able to breathe. You're like, and you're gassed, and that you just ran down the field, 50, 60 yards, you're already tired too. So not being able to breathe and him telling me I have to pray, that was it.
And you really at that moment said, God, take me, I'm at peace.
That's all I thought I could do.
Wow.
At that moment.
How old are you at the time?
I'm 20 years old. I turned 20 the month before. And I wasn't, the day I said, God, take me at ease, believe me, I wasn't ready to go. I wasn't. But at the time I said, you know what? If this is it, God, just let this be, seamlessly. And I closed my eyes, but as I closed them, nothing happened. It wasn't my time. And I thank God for that.
What day was the game on? Is this a Saturday?
It was a Saturday afternoon. This injury probably had, I think it was a 1 or 2 p.m. kickoff. So it was probably around like 4 o'clock, almost the end of the game.
What's the next thing you remember after passing out?
I remember so in movies when they're showing somebody getting to the hospital, it's like boom, boom with the heartbeat and they're going in and out. Yep. That's real. That's real life stuff. I remember getting to the hospital and it's like boom, boom. I'm looking up and I see a bunch of lights as I'm getting carted down the hallway. Boom, boom, you black out. I woke up again, and now I'm in a room with a bunch of nurses and doctors, and it sounds like they're speaking a different language. It's like boom, 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 boom. I black out. I wake up one more time, and now I'm in a room by myself with a bunch of monitors and sounds just beep, beep. And then I blacked out, and I don't remember anything until Wednesday, and that injury happened to me on Saturday.
Yo, you just painted a dope picture, too. You're like, yo, think about a hospital where they wheeling you in. So you literally on the gurney.
That stuff in the movies is real, man. It's crazy to think about it, but it literally happened to me.
Do you remember your surgery at all?
Nothing about the surgery. When I went into the surgery, I remember, obviously people had told me that thing. It took 9 hours. I had to do it twice. I don't remember none of that. I just remember blacking out that one last time. And I do remember seeing my mom. This is a crazy story, so I'll get into this. They broke the news to my mom after they did all the MRIs and stuff, right? They did the CAT scans and this stuff, and they said, your son is fractured at C3, C4 vertebrae. He'll be paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. He'll never eat again on his own, like solid food. He'll never be able to breathe on his own. He'll never walk again, and we're hoping he's strong enough to make it through the surgery. My mom was in a room with my teammate, Scott Vallone, and his mom. My teammate bust down the hallway, screaming, cursing, crying. His mom got to go console him. My mom starts talking to another doctor, and that other doctor that broke that news to her left, he was very blunt, left and went to get prepared for the surgery. Now the doctor's talking to my mom, like, you got this percentages of that and that, but at that time, my mom wasn't trying to hear that. But they let me see her before I went into the surgery, and I vaguely remember this. I remember, I guess the adrenaline was still flowing. It had to be. The adrenaline was still flowing from the game, but right before I went into surgery, I said to my mom, I'll be back. And when she heard me say that, everything changed. And we'll get into that, but everything changed.
Wow. Listen, I get it. I totally get it. Just hearing those words come from your mouth, I'm sure the level of peace that it puts your mother at, just reminding her, number one, who her son is. And number two, I don't care what the doctors say. There is a man that holds all the cards. The man upstairs, the doctors can only tell you what science tells them. But if you believe in something greater, through him, all things are possible. So I could just imagine the strength you gave your mother in that moment, whispering, I'll be back. Incredible.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me, because you went through something that most people will never go through. We can all talk about our life changing in an instant, but many of us have not yet experienced, we don't know what tomorrow holds, but many people who are watching this have not experienced something literally that my life changed in an instant. When you were told you have, 5% chance of ever breathing again, 5% chance of ever walking again. For you, how do you even take some news like that? Because that is not the news that you expected to get on the day that you woke up and played that game like you have been playing since you were 5 years old. And for somebody, it's one thing, hey, my football career is in jeopardy, but it's a whole other thing. My life has just changed forever. Can you help us to understand the mindset of even getting some news like that?
And let me tell you, so this is how it all happened. When I told you I don't remember anything till Wednesday. When I finally started coming to off of all the medication and after the surgery and stuff, I start remembering stuff. I wake up to a room, Shawn, I'm telling you, posters, jerseys, footballs, helmets. They did teddy bears. They decorated my room. I started getting it was in the media all over, from every college out there. Every Division I college, USC, Miami, Notre Dame, Penn State. Just everyone sending me. Well, then NFL, they start sending stuff. And I remember my mom, when I woke up that day, she goes, Eric, let me know when you want to talk, and had that conversation. But at the time, I said, you know what? Let me just enjoy what's going on around here. Lines, hundreds of people. We took over the whole waiting room, coming to see me, visit me. I'm catching up with people I haven't seen since middle school. Even though I'm exhausted, I'm falling asleep half the time on the people. It was good to be able to just feel that love, that comfort. And through the tough times, I remember my sister would read the fan mail to me because it was coming from all over the world. And I remember just sitting there breaking down and crying. And then my aunt would always read Psalms 23 to me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And that helped me get through those times. And that, finally led me up into later on that week or the next week. I finally had asked my mom what my diagnosis was.
Hold on. You're telling me it took you several days to a week before you actually asked your mother, what's my diagnosis? And more important, you just dropped something that's dope. I mean, we often talk about, and I know even me, it is a daily practice. And I'm not really that great at it. I ain't mastered it yet. To try to live in the moment, be present, be here now. As I'm talking to Eric, be here. Feel his energy. Feel this moment. Are you telling me that for almost a week, you were able to be present? You're lying in a hospital bed. Don't know if I'm going to live, I'm going to die. I don't know. I don't even know my prognosis. I just want to feel this moment.
I did.
Wow.
I did.
That's dope.
I remember laying in that bed, and I've always been the one, like, people have always looked up to me. I've always been that leader. I've never been knocked down like this. To see the response of the people coming to see me, I felt like I owed it to them to give them my time, give them my moment. I knew something bad happened, obviously. I got tubes coming out of me every which way, neck brace on. I knew it was bad. But to live in that moment where I'm with my friends, my people I grew up with, my teammates coming to see me, people I haven't seen in such a long time. I remember saying, like how you like what's going on with your life? Like, people filling me in, like, on what's happening with them. And, my team, I'll never forget, I still must have been on some medication. My friend Tyler came in the room. I was like, yo, Ty, where the party at tonight? And he was like, yeah, I think you need to take it easy tonight. And later I found out that he left the room and just broke down, cried and everything. But no, what my mom told everybody, listen to this. Whoever goes in the room to see Eric, you have to have a smile on your face. Don't let him see you upset. Be positive. Be energetic. And I'm telling every single person that came into my room, was even the doctors at the time, hey, Eric, what's going on? Like it was nothing, and that put me at ease. Later I found out, all my friends, they're like, once things started to get better, yo, E, man, I left your room and I was bawling my eyes out, crying. But in the moment, everyone was just so peaceful and cheerful. And I'm so thankful for my mom for doing that, because I literally didn't see anybody upset for that first, 3 weeks of my injury. It was insane. And I'm thankful to them. My family's are staying so strong for me in that moment.
We spoke offline about your mother, and, as I was studying and preparing for this interview, I had become such a fan, not of yours, not just of yours, but of your mother. Every clip I see you in, I see her in. Every behind the scenes, every public outing, she is right there. And I just think it's such a blessing. And I hate to phrase it this way. But although God allowed this to happen to you, he knew that you had a support system in place and ready for this moment. And just hearing you even speak about your mother, I want to just take a minute and just give it up to her publicly, because it appears in just taking she has been there every step of the way, not just physically, but mentally and psychologically, and making sure everybody else showed up physically, psychologically, mentally, the right way for you to get you through this thing.
Absolutely. And that's been my mom my whole life. Everyone around the neighborhood, they always do, when you heard my mom's voice, they got a little bit nervous. You know what I mean? Like my mom didn't play. My mom always, like, she let me live. She let me learn on my own. But she was always, if something didn't feel right, she would nag until, I did it right. And she knew with my friends, they knew when they come over, it's like, hey, I got to act right here. You know what I mean? Everyone knew that. So after my injury happened, and, my aunt's, the rock, my aunt's the prayer warrior of the family, keeping everyone together. When my uncle, when he was killed by a drunk driver back in '94, obviously I don't remember because I was only like 4 years old. My aunt kept my mom, kept my grandma, everyone together. My grandpa died 3 months before I was born. My aunt kept everyone together. So now this injury happens to me, and my mom and my aunt are literally, feeding off of each other's energy. And my mom said, okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to stay positive. And like you said, all the stuff now that you see that I do, she's there behind the scenes. She literally, she stayed at Kessler, where I was living for 5 months as inpatient rehabilitation, on a pull-out couch. She only didn't stay there for 3 days. 3 nights she didn't stay there. My girlfriend stayed, some nights on another pull-out couch at the time. And my aunt would stay sometimes, but 3 nights out of 5 months, she wasn't there. That's because she got sick one time and had to stay home. And her back still pays for that. That's sleeping on that pull-out couch. But she wanted to learn as much as possible to how to take care of a quadriplegic now who's my son, who's going to need me. And I'm forever thankful for that.
Amazing. 5 months of rehab. Incredible. Can you again, and I am learning through you, if something like this happened to the average person, it's natural. You're going through 5 months of rehab. You were projected to go to the NFL. That was kind of a given. You are at the height of your life. You're young, you're energetic, you have so much going on, and then it stops. Can you talk to me about just coming to terms? What is the mindset of somebody who's coming to terms with, I have no movement, and I know now you can move your shoulders, but at the time you have no movement from your neck down, but you are an athlete. Like, what is it like coming to terms with something like that? And is there a why me? Are there suicidal moments? Are you feeling like, if I can't do it the way that I'm used to doing it, I don't want to do it at all. Let me just end things. How does this work for you mentally?
And this is why I chalk it up to being an athlete, honestly. Having that mindset of working out on a daily basis, grinding, sacrificing, learning in the classroom, learning in the meeting rooms, learning on the field. I said to I got opened up to a whole new world. I was in my little bubble when I was at Rutgers. All I knew was practice, weight room sessions, class, study hall, a tiny bit of a social life, and repeat. Just repeat all the time. When this injury happened to me, I was like, there's a real life outside of New Brunswick, New Jersey. There's stuff that's going on. And you start to see people in a similar situation as you, but they don't have the same mindset. And you see them upset. And then me, in my head, immediately, it's like, nah, this is go time. This is my life. Whatever I can control, best believe I'm going to do that. I'm going to control that. Everything else I leave in God's hands, but this ain't my When I finally got to rehab after 3 weeks, I'm like, it's time to go. It's crazy though, because I went from benching 415 pounds and squatting 605 pounds to they put a balloon on my chest, and I had to do breathing exercises to try to blow a balloon off my chest, hold it, and then exhale. Inhale, hold it, exhale. I'm like, I went from benching all this weight to I got to try to push a balloon off my chest. But I said, hey, this is it. AE, get in that mindset. And I remember at first everyone knew me as the Rutgers football player. So no one would talk to me when I first got to the gym. Everyone would just stare at me, go to the gym. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? Put that all eyes on me. Tupac Vine. Everyone's looking at me. It's time for me to go to work. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me. That's fine. Hoodie up. Let's go to work. And that's how I kind of attacked it. I took that as my weight room sessions, my therapy sessions, my practices. And as things started to come back, those were my game day victories.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And let's talk about that for a second. You said things started to come back. I know you were not given a great prognosis in terms of even breathing, like forget walking, forget moving, any of that stuff, being able to breathe on your own. Can you, again, just speak to that? Because that's not a small victory. That's a huge victory. How much of that is your sheer will to I know what y'all are saying, but I know me, and I'm not going to just accept that I can't breathe on my own. What is the mindset like with that?
It's funny because this one, obviously I chalk it up always to God, but this is my stubbornness as well. Mm-hmm. I'm laying in that bed at Kessler, and I remember the machine, it made it sound like, like I'm like, I can't sleep. Like this machine, I can't even sleep. And I remember saying to myself, I asked my respiratory therapist, I'm like, can you take me off this ventilator for a few minutes and maybe I can, fall asleep? She said, if I take you off, you're going to last about 1 minute and I got to put you back. I said, give me that 1 minute to fall asleep. She took me off. And I'm not going to lie to you. I felt like I just ran the New York City Marathon. I was like huffing like for air, but it's like it started to slowly come down, and it was like, and she was like, "Oh, you're breathing on your own." Hour and a half later, I was still breathing on my own, and she put me back on the ventilator for the rest of the night. But she said, "You know what? Maybe you're ready to start weaning off of this thing." And the next day, 2 hours. Next day, 5 hours. 10 hours. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I'm breathing fully on my own again.
Wow. Tell me God ain't good, Eric. Tell me God ain't good.
It was incredible. 5 weeks after my injury, after they told me I'll never breathe on my own again, I was breathing on my own.
How much movement do you have now?
You see, I'll move around, that's some back motion. Hey, shimmy shake here, shimmy shake there. So things have come back from me slowly but surely. Every now and then I can get my finger to twitch a little bit, maybe even like a little toe, just little twitches here and there, and nothing crazy significant. But like I said, I control what I can control. Everything else leave in God's hands, and that's why I work my butt off to raise awareness. So one day we will find a cure for paralysis.
I know you are doing a lot of work, bringing awareness and raising money for spinal cord injuries and paralysis. Before we get there, how do you feel? You're sitting in a chair now, and it's due to football. It's due to a very violent and combative sport. How do you feel about this sport now? Because we hear about CTE. We hear about so many football players that once they leave the game, they're never the same mentally, and you're never the same physically. Do you have any, number one, regrets? And number two, for parents of young kids, would you warn them or advise them to stay away from this sport? Or do you still love the game?
I still love the game. There is no animosity towards the game of football. This injury happened to me for a reason. I know all these types of injuries that are happening. I'm so thankful that it's, upon us now that we can educate ourselves. Because you know what? I tell people, football was the best teacher of life for me. Just being able to commit to something, sacrifice, grind, work hard, push through adversity, overcome that adversity, get knocked down, get back up. It set me up for life. I'm very, like I said, whatever you throw at me, I'm like, let's go. I've been in situations before. I've been in them trenches. I've been in the battle, physically, mentally, emotionally. I've been there. I feel like football sets you up for life, sports in general. So when people ask me, would you let your son go out there? I said, if he wants to give it his 100%, absolutely. Obviously, it's a danger that comes with the game, yes. But the mindset that he's going to have playing the game of football, the things that he's going to learn, the friendships, the team developed, the brotherhood that's developed, that'll set him up for life. He'll be good. And guess what? Nowadays, which is smart, when I was growing up, any old, Joe Schmo coach could throw out there, run full speed into each other, crack each other's head. You know what I mean? Now, no, you got to get certified to become a coach. You got to learn the proper techniques. And that's all because of, like you said, the CTE and the head injuries. Now these kids are finally learning at a young age the proper techniques to actually play the game of football compared to when, say, you were growing up or when I was growing up and they just said, run full speed into each other. Now these kids are actually learning at a young age, and it's going to set them up as they go to, the middle school, to high school, college, and then the pros. He's going to be practicing these techniques since they were 5 years old compared to when they told us to line up full speed and run full speed into each other.
Sitting here and talking to you, and even before we had a chance to have this conversation, I think to a person who is someone I admire, someone I respect, someone who inspires me day to day, Mr. Inky Johnson. And I'm not sure, are you familiar with that name?
I know Inky Johnson, bro. That's my boy right there.
Okay.
My God.
Inky is, I call him the GOAT. I always hit him offline like, yo, brother, keep inspiring, keep doing what you're doing. You are the GOAT. You are making a difference in this world, whether you realize it or not. But one of the things about Inky, and for anybody who is not familiar with that name, Inky Johnson played for Tennessee. He had a very, very tragic accident on the field, similar to yours. He is now permanently paralyzed in his right arm. But that injury was in somewhat a blessing. It was the true meaning of the word serendipity, because it led him on this life journey that he's on now, which is inspiring and motivating people. But he always says, Shawn, I wouldn't change it. If I was going, literally, Inky, I believe he was 8 games away from the NFL when he had his injury.
He was.
But he still would not change it.
Mm-hmm.
Your life has been fruitful and plentiful since your injury. But still in all, it's not the life you knew. It's not the life you lived up until 20 years old. Would you change, if you had a chance to not go to that field, if you had the opportunity to sit that game out, would you?
No, I tell people this all the time. What happened to me was meant to happen to me because of the blessings that have come from it. The way God knew I was built for this. I had the mindset for this. I had no idea how many people's lives I would touch after this injury. And I truly say these past 10 years, it's been fun. Do I like being paralyzed? Hell no. But the places I've gotten to go, the people I've gotten to meet, the things I've gotten to do, the people I've gotten to touch, inspire, looking up to me, the friendships that are made, I can't take that back. I cannot take that back. It's special to me. It gives me a purpose to wake up every morning and push to be the best that I can be. I'm driven. I'm motivated. I can't stop now. This is my responsibility, and I love it. I love it. And one day, when I do get up from this chair, boy, it's gonna be a party, and it will be all the puzzles will have aligned, and the pieces we put into place, and this was your mission, this was your goal. This is what I sent you here to do. And look how many millions of people that you've touched along the way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Got to ask this question. We've all heard the expression, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like Stevie Wonder was born blind. He doesn't know what it is to see. He's done amazing things with his life, but it's the only life he's ever known. In your case, is it better to have loved and lost? Is it better to have run up and down the field, be this incredible athlete, know what it is to live outside of that chair? Or do you think, looking back on it, maybe I would rather have been in Stevie's condition because it would have been the only life that I've known?
I believe truly it does feel good to love and have lost. You know why? It gives you a newfound appreciation on life. The little things that come in life, just being able to hang out with your family, being able to run a business, run a foundation with that support system that I have, being able to touch other people with just your message, just the simple little things that you can do on your own. It's just a whole new appreciation on life. And it makes you look at life when you got people complaining and doing this, and then you're like, you know how many people would wish to be in your shoes right now? You know how many people that I could talk to that wish that they were just had a little bit of your life and you're complaining? It allows me to radiate that energy to other people. It's funny because when people start complaining to me and they're like, oh, I shouldn't be complaining. I don't know why. I'm like, listen, it's human nature. You haven't been through what I've been through. So you're going to have, different worries in your life. But guess what? I hope after seeing me and after hearing me and being around me, you will look at your life a little bit differently and not complain maybe next time, or look at it like, you know what? I shouldn't be worried about this. And that's why I say that love to loss, yes, it's tough. It's not easy to you think about where you could be or where you would have been. But where I am right now, I'm happy.
I want to take a second and just talk about all of the wonderful work that you've done to bring awareness to spinal cord injuries, paralysis. Can we talk about your foundation for a second? How much money have you guys raised to date? Talk about just some of the good work that the Eric LeGrand Foundation has done.
Yeah, so in 2012, so many people were still attached to my story. And like, Eric, what can we do to help? What can we do? The Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, and, it's funny because I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't know who Christopher Reeve was. And my mom got mad at me that I didn't know who Christopher Reeve was. I said, Ma, I was born in 1990. I'm sorry, I didn't know. He was the original Superman in the 70s and the 80s and all that. After I did my research on him, I said, oh, I probably should have known that, man. His foundation, from the very beginning, they were alongside of me, reaching out, trying to help out. So finally, we decided right in January 2013, let's start our own foundation. And we called it Team LeGrand of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. So we became a fundraising branch off the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. And we launched in the fall of 2013. And let me tell you, it took off from 5K walks, Zumba tournament, Zumba competitions, cornhole, flag football, schools raising money. People just wanted to be a part of car washes. Man, I'm proud to say, galas, and our now coming up on 8 years this fall, we've raised over $2 million for spinal cord injury research. And
hold on, stop there. How much?
Over $2 million for spinal cord injury research. And we just continue to grow and continue every day. And I say to myself, spinal cord injuries, they don't discriminate. It can happen to anybody, any race, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So guess what? My foundation, we're going to do that. We're going to step out of our comfort zone. We're going to educate all people on spinal cord injury research, Black, white, Latino, Asian, because I've seen them all. I've seen every type of person, religion, background in wheelchairs. So guess what? We're going to bring awareness to different things. I never knew anything about Zumba, but I had a Zumba tournament. I knew nothing about cornhole, but I had a cornhole tournament. I did a flag football. I know a little bit about that. Did that. The stuff, CKO kickboxing, knew nothing about it, but people wanting to find ways to raise awareness for my cause, I'm all for it, because guess what? That person that's doing it may not have been educated about spinal cord injury research or anything before, but you come to a Team LeGrand event, you're going to learn, you're going to leave happy, educated, and wanting to do more. And that's why I'm so thankful for Team LeGrand.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I didn't realize that you raised that kind of money. That's amazing. That is amazing, Eric. Let's talk about, as a matter of fact, even before I go to my next question, what can you tell us about the advancements made in spinal cord injury medicine? Where are we going to see any major leaps in our lifetime? Is there a time that you could see, just knowing where the technology is today, that maybe one day, not just the thousands and millions of people who have been affected by these types of injuries, but Eric will one day get out of that chair? Is the technology almost there? I often hear about the stem cell research. Can you just speak to us about the advancements in medicine and technology?
Yeah, technology, we're living in a time of technology where things are evolving every single day. You got people working on stem cell research and, implanting them in the spinal cord and going through the route through therapy that way. With the Reed Foundation, we're going through epidural stimulation, where we're literally implanting a stem inside on the lower part of your spinal cord. And it's like a machine. You turn it on, and people have regained back bowel function, bladder function, standing up with a walker, sensation throughout their body, and taking steps with a walker, and all with the stimulator on the lower part of their spinal cord. So in my lifetime, I've been hurt for 20 years, for 10 years. And then 10 years from where we were 10 years ago to now, I'm like, look at the advancements. Look what's happening. People are getting up. This is working. Where will we be in 10 years, 20 years from now? And God willing, I'm still here. I truly believe I will. And I'll be able to have that day where I can rise from this chair and take those steps, to be a part of these studies.
You absolutely will. You absolutely will. You have the right mindset. I want to just talk about the highlights. You made the cover of Sports Illustrated. You got an ESPY award. Can you just talk to us about these monumental moments that so many athletes around the world would love to have?
I feel like, like I said, these are the blessings that come upon me. Leading my team out of the tunnel in a 5-foot blizzard, snow all everywhere. Being able to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Going to the ESPYs, sharing my story in front of thousands of people there and millions across the world. Being able to write a book, all these different awards. People always, they tend to ask me, what's your favorite moment? And I still go back to when I was able to graduate from Rutgers with my degree in labor relations, and I was able to give the commencement speech in 2014 amongst all the people out there and put that diploma on the wall for my mama like my sister did. And I was able to do the same because, believe me, that was hard work. It was learning to adjust to different technologies, learning to trust other people's notes and reading through them. A lot of things that when you become paralyzed, you got to rely a lot on your mind and remembering and things like that. And I was able to graduate from Rutgers University. I didn't let that hold me back. I had 60 credits at the time I got injured. I had to get another 60 more. And I was able to do that. And putting that diploma on the wall was the biggest moment.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You're an entrepreneur. You have so many businesses right now. You have the coffee house. You have the role model T-shirts. Mm-hmm. What's next for Eric LeGrand? What can we look out for?
I'm doing a lot. I'm exploring. I'm learning. I said this COVID time, believe me, it's terrible. But it's allowed me to take a step back on my life and reflect. I listened to an audio book last summer that really got my entrepreneurship mind going. And I don't know if you're familiar with the book called Shoe Dog, but it's by Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, the creator of Nike. And when you hear Nike, Nike's Nike. It's, that it's the top dog and all that. But I had no idea the trials and the tribulations, the struggles, the lawsuits, and everything that went behind the scenes of creating Nike, battling Adidas at the time. I didn't know Adidas was around before Nike. Battling Puma. I didn't know Puma was around before Nike. I had no idea where Nike's journey was to get to where it was. An 18-year journey to become that top dog. And then when I listened to that audiobook, I said, you know what? My life, I ain't letting anything hold me back. I opened up LeGrand Coffee House, 6 months later, and we've been in business for about a month and a half, or was it just our online shop? Business is booming. People love some coffee. We want to bring unity to the community with a daily cup of belief. That's our motto. And we want to keep on continuing to do that for people, because when you look at me, you drink my coffee, you want to get that motivation, that inspiration, and say, you know what? I can do anything. If Eric is going through this and battling through that, and I can do this too. And that's what it does. Every time you drink my coffee, it reminds you. I created Shop 52, as you see my role model shirt. I wanted something that represented me. Believe 52 has been my motto since the beginning. I wanted something that really represented me. And I thought, like, what do people say about you? Inspiration, motivation, role model. But I said, you know what? Let me put my little twist on it. As you see, roll, ROLL, but my firm's like E. Make that O a handicap sign. I was like, yo, that's gold.
That's dope.
That's good. And here we are, we'll be a year and a half in the business with this. And you got T-shirts all. You said mention Inky Johnson. Inky Johnson got him one of these role model shirts as well. And they've been all over the globe, all throughout the world, which has been pretty cool to see. So continuing to grow Shop 52, my new business endeavor with the LeGrand Coffee House. And we'll see, man. The sky's the limit, Shawn. You know me. I may be sitting, but I don't sit still.
That's right. I love that. I really love that. Where can our audience, this has been such a wonderful interview. It's been so inspiring, and it is everything that I hoped and prayed that it would be. Where can my audience find you?
You can find me on all my social medias at Eric LeGrand 52. That's EricLegrand 52. On my Instagram, my Twitter, Facebook is just Eric LeGrand. My website is ericlegrand52.com. We got energy. If you want to go to our shop, ericlegrand52.com/shop. LeGrand Coffee House is legrandcoffeehouse.com. And the main one that I'm most proud about is Team LeGrand. And that's continuing to raise money. You can find us at teamlegrand.org as we continue to help the 5.6 million people in this world that are dealing with some sort of paralysis. So one day we can live Christopher Reeve's dream. And that's a world with empty wheelchairs.
I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. And I just want to thank you for being an inspiration, not only to myself, but the millions of people who have been impacted by your life, by your story, or have just come into your presence face to face. Eric LeGrand, you are a true power move maker. Thank you again.
Shawn, I appreciate you, my brother.
What's up, guys? Thanks for sticking with me to the end of the video. Truly appreciate you. If you like anything you heard here today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you know anybody that can benefit from this message, feel free to share. Peace and love.